Good day, everyone. As the Group 1, we are here to discuss a very interesting case that involves a relationship between two parties that have been destroyed by a certain fraudulent act, all because of man's greed. And this is the case of Gasataya versus Mabasa, with a General Register number 148147, dated February 16, 2007. Our petitioner is Jessie Gatsaya, the daughter of Sabas Gatsaya, while our respondent is Edita Mabasa, the daughter of Benaventura Mabasa. The civil procedure used in this case is appeal by certiorari, which is the Rule 45.
Facts of the case. Mabasa was granted a homestead patent on 3 lots located in Lala, Lanao del Norte. These lots are mortgaged to the Development Bank of the Philippines to secure a loan. Mabasa's failure to pay for the loan led DBP to foreclose the lots and sold them at a public auction. DBP then also obtained title to the lots. Respondent Edita Mabasa, daughter of Benaventura Mabasa, acquired the foreclosed properties from DBP through a deed of conditional sale for 25,875 pesos after the death of her father. An agreement was created between the respondent and the petitioner's father where they agreed that the latter would take into possession of the lots for 20 years and develop it into a fish pond. The latter also gave 10,000 in cash to the respondent in addition to the 25,000 peso to be paid by Gasataya to DBP. Respondent and petitioner entered into another agreement, which is the deed of sale of fish ponds lands with right to repurchase. After 8 years of the said agreement, respondent discovered that petitioner stopped paying DBP, revoking the right to repurchase the lots. In a public auction later held by DBP, the petitioner participated and bid the highest price of 27,000 for the lots and the acquired titles. Respondent filed a complaint in the RTC against the petitioner for the conveyance of the titles of lands with damages. Respondent claimed that petitioner intentionally reneged the commitment to pay DBP in order to revoke the rights of the respondent to repurchase the lots under the deed of conditional sale and to be able to put the properties in a public auction where the petitioner could bid. The petitioner denied the allegations, claiming that DBP rejected payments. The court ruled in favor of the respondent since the petitioner cannot prove her claim.
The following issues are whether or not a conveyance is available to Mabasa, whether or not Mabasa had the right for the lot since the conditional sale agreement where such right was based had long been cancelled by DBP, whether or not the Gasataya's titles are unsullied on the mere fact that he purchased the lot at public auction, whether or not Mabasa has a better right than the petitioner since her father acquired the lots through homestead grant. The issue of whether or not the petitioner's action to intentionally stop paying the DBP so that he can acquire the lot through public auction constitute a fraudulent act. The argument of the respondent is that the Gasatayas intentionally chose not to pay the DBP in order for them to acquire the said lot in a fraudulent and illegal manner. The Gasatayas failed to produce evidence to support their defenses, to which in turn resulted in the judgment that was rendered in favor of the respondent.
Rulings. Number 1. Reconveyance is still available to Mabasa because reconveyance is not only available to the legal owner, which in this case are the Gastayas, but also to the person with the better right. The respondent has the better right because first, according to the Court of Appeals, the deed of the conditional sale executed by DPP vested on her the right to repurchase the lots, and second, her right to repurchase them would have subsisted had they, the Gastayas, not defrauded her. This means that the agreement of repurchase involved only the DBP and Mabasa, and it will not be breached if only the petitioner perform his obligation. Number 2. Mabasa still has the right for the lot because the petitioner cannot discredit the deed of the conditional sale agreement, and the respondent's right to repurchase the lots was only revoked because of the fraud committed by the petitioner. Number 3. The registration of the properties in petitioner's name did not obliterate the fact that fraud preceded and facilitated such registration. Therefore, Gastaya's titles are solid, even by the mere fact that he purchased the lot at the auction. It is fraud to knowingly omit or conceal a fact upon which benefit is obtained, to the prejudice of another. Consequently, fraud is a ground for reconveyance. Number 4. The respondent has the better right to the lots because of the Commonwealth Act 141 or Public Land Act that aims to confine and preserve to the homesteader and his kin the homestead lots. The respondent's father originally acquired the subjected lots through homestead grant. According to the Court of Appeals, desperation does not allow much of a choice. Hence, homesteaders and their kin should be given every opportunity to repurchase their homestead.
Now, let's connect this case to the topic of fraud. From this, we can tell that Gasataya defaulted their payment of the assumed obligation for Mabasa's land in order to damage the respondent. When DBP subjected the land in a public auction, petitioner did what he always planned to do, to purchase the land and be the owner himself. This is clearly a breach of trust which becomes fraud, and this would warrant an action for reconveyance. So what makes it a fraudulent act? Firstly, the petitioner did intend to cause damage to the respondent in order to gain ownership to the land. Second, there was clear evidence that the petitioner intended to stop paying for the land and not because DPP told him so, and that he himself participated in the auction, which he was the highest bidder. A waiver for future void discourages the obliger to do his duties, thus making the obligation illusory. And lastly, the CA cannot reduce the petitioner's liabilities for the fraud that he committed. To be specific, Gasataya's act is incidental fraud or dolo incidente, as there is already an existing contract when he committed fraud. This gives the defrauded party the right to seek compensation in which the petitioner is obliged to pay for damages.
From this case, we can see that the law only protects an innocent purchaser for value and not one who has knowledge of and participation in the employment of fraud. An innocent purchaser for value is one who buys the property of another without notice that some other person has a right to or interest in that same property. That concludes our video case digest. Thank you for watching.